We're here with Mike Richmond, winemaker of Bouchaine Vineyards. Mike, how did you first become interested in wine and winemaking?
Well, I was raised in Texas, and so I always aspired to the romantic side of both life and wine, but I didn't ever dream that I would ever get involved in wine. I studied special education at the University of Texas. Then I left on a bicycle tour in the United States. And that tour eventually took me through the Napa Valley, and I fell in love with the possibility of maybe living in California. Never really thinking that it was going to happen, but as it turned out, I did. I came back and visited Napa Valley again, and decided when I was driving through the tunnel of elms in front of Behringer that this is where I'm going to live. And so that was in 1970. And I started a job with a winery called Freemark Abbey, and over the course of the next 10 years worked on a management apprenticeship and learned every aspect of the wine business and never got back into education. So I developed an enduring affection for the lifestyle that surrounds the aesthetics and the science of wine.
And what started your passion for Pinot Noir?
Pinot Noir. We have to remember that in 1970, bad things were being said about Pinot Noir by American wine writers. They said Burgundy was great, but forget it, California, to grow Pinot Noir. So perhaps it was the callowness of youth and the challenge that, well, why not do Pinot Noir? Because other people are doing Cabernet, and I think as a student of Pinot Noir, I became a student of Pinot Noir, and I saw possibilities among some of the wines that were being made, and I realized that the problem was not with Pinot Noir, it was that it was planted in the wrong places. And so the people that were saying bad things, they was justified, but that could be fixed by planting them in the right places and getting the stuff that was making wine that tasted like tomato juice and silage, get those off the market and start growing grapes in the right places. That's the reason I found the wines, I found Carneros and came to the Carneros region and kind of had, I think, an influence on the future of Pinot Noir in America and in California. And there were several, not just me, there were several young winemakers that were starting the same, were heeding the same call to Pinot Noir.
And what are some of the signature characteristics of the wines that you produce?
Well, I think with Pinot Noir, you don't have a whole lot of choice in that the Pinot Noir reflects the ground that it was grown on and where it's grown. And the clones, Pinot Noir is a very transparent variety. It'll tell on you. It'll tell exactly what's happened and how it was made. So you just kind of take care of it, Pinot Noir, and let it express itself. What I'm trying to do is, or I should say the most important decision I make is when to pick the grapes, the level of ripeness. So what I'm trying to do is still capture the ethereal perfume that has made Pinot Noir such an intriguing grape variety for all the centuries, and also give it some power, some backbone, without compromising the perfume. And so that's my challenge, and that's the kind of wine I try to make. Wine that has good fruit and richness and good color, not inky black. I don't want it to taste like port or prune juice. I want it to taste like a beautiful grape, but I also want it to have those high tones and ethereal tones like the rose petal and the violets and the sweet spice pungency that it can have as well.
And so what are some of your favorite foods to pair with the wines that you make?
We've been talking mostly about Pinot Noir here and instead of Chardonnay. We also make Chardonnay. But with Pinot Noir, I say where there's smoke, there's Pinot. So with Pinot is probably the most versatile of all red wines. Anytime you kiss a course with smoke on the grill or the mesquite grill or the barbecue, it's going to work with Pinot Noir. Pinot also has a frequent talk about the earthiness, so it goes with things that have earthy flavors, whether it be rutabagas or mushrooms. A natural with Pinot Noir has always been duck. A wonderful, wonderful, almost a marriage, and the richness of duck, but there's a softness there too that makes it work really great with Pinot Noir. Fruits, fruit compotes, especially black cherries or black fruits, also can work nicely with Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir is probably the most versatile of all red wines. It goes with a wide range of food. It's like Pinot Noir has so many flavors going on in it. At a well-made Pinot, those flavors will come, you don't even know they're there. They'll come out and resonate with the food that you match it up with, even though you didn't realize it was there when you first started.
And any favorite food pairings to go with your Chardonnays?
The Chardonnay we make in Carneros tends to be more citrusy and like grapefruit and lime in the fragrance, and it has a wonderful mouthfeel and texture. It has a grain to it you can feel. And then the way I make it is I make many different Chardonnays using different yeasts and different barrels and what have you, and blend them all together. So again, like the Pinot Noir, I layer different flavors in there so that it goes with a wide range of foods. So the Chardonnay, as I produce, goes really nicely, whether it be Pacific Rim Asian cuisine that has ginger in it, or a chicken dish with a butter sauce. It works with a wide range of different types of cuisine.
And with all of your years of experience in the wine industry, what are some recommendations you could give our readers who'd like to learn more about wine and what steps they could take, or any helpful hints?
Well, I think the most important thing is to trust yourself. It's kind of like I took a class in music appreciation once, and the teacher talked about active listening as opposed to passive listening. So I think the same thing exists with wines. When you taste, remember you taste with your mind, not with your mouth. So take a few minutes to pay attention with what you're tasting. You don't have to dwell on it, pour over it forever, but pay attention to it. Every single thing you put in your mouth, pay attention to the flavor of it. And with wines, and then make connections and associations with other things, and be proud of those associations you make. Then I heartily recommend a trip to a wine country, a wine region. It will just infuse you with a certain level of understanding that you can't get from reading a book or going on the internet. But of course, going on the internet, reading a book is a good thing. I also would recommend that you find a small wine shop with someone who cares a great deal about wine, and build a friendship with that person and use them as a guide. There's no reason that you should know everything about wine. That's the reason when people make that their life's profession. You should learn from other people. And so learn from others, enjoy what you taste, pay attention to what you taste, and always know that you're going to be tasting something that is different than what you thought it was. The reason we love wine is because it's always full of surprises. So don't be too sure of yourself as you start to know more and more about it.
That's great. Thanks so much, Mike.
You're sure welcome.